Hello, good afternoon, everyone. How are you? My name is Samson Lee. First of all, it's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you for the host of the event, Cloud Expo Asia, for having me today. It's a great pleasure to be here. So today I'm going to share with you on the topics of blockchain adoption of financial industry. I'm Samson Lee, or you can call me Sam. I'm the founder and CEO of Street Partners. I have been involved in the blockchain industry since 2016. Now I have helping different organizations and to drive the industry and adoption in different ways. I also involved in helping, for example, the University of Hang Seng University of Hong Kong. I am on the FinTech and Blockchain Committee, and also participating in a lot of educational events, trying to share the blockchain knowledge with more people. Street Partners is an award-winning AI-powered global decentralized investment banking group and a professional fintech and digital assets consulting firm. We operate under what we call the FMT strategy. Many people heard a lot about financial technology, fintech. We just add extra element about media and community to it, so make it FMT. Reason being FMT, as many know, blockchain have removed a lot of intermediate in the workflow and work process. So a lot of the time, both supplier and consumer can connect directly. So in the middle, the media and community become very important. Under the FMT framework, we operate 5 business units. Under financial service, we offer digital investment banking, digital asset wealth management service. On the media and community side, we provide global distribution coordination. On the technology side, we provide asset tokenization and security digitization management, and also decentralized finance or DeFi and DLT solutions. We are also organizing the world first annual international awards for tokenized asset and digitized securities. As we speak here, we actually open for nomination just in 2 days, in like a few days, in October 1st. You can visit our website if you're interested to find out more. And the ceremony will be broadcast globally during Hong Kong Blockchain Week on the 18th. We also run the world's largest online private placement investment roadshow, covering 4 time zones, 30 countries, and 50 languages. Again, you feel free to visit our website to find out more information. Great. Back to our topics today, blockchain for the financial industry. So first of all, where are we now? Is blockchain still a buzzword? Is it still something very niche for so-called the crypto community, a very niche area? So let me give you some market snapshot. Blockchain is actually very popular now and being deployed in a much larger scale. First of all, if we look at some of the recent news, this news just 2 days ago, SEC, regulator in US, have just announced a framework for giving a very clear guidance for the national banks in US be able to provide service to stablecoin service provider, right? Meaning the bank can hold the deposit for the issuer of stablecoin for issuing stablecoin. And in other words, can probably also hold the stablecoin as well. This is a big news. And also one of the early days crypto exchange Kraken have now officially get a US banking license, right? So crypto exchange now become banks in a fully compliant way. Closer at home, our regulator SFC just recently granted conditional approval for the first virtual asset trading platform to OSL, or BC Group, which is a publicly listed group in Hong Kong Stock Exchange. And I'm sure you all have heard from the news that Chinese central banks are now ready to roll out the digital renminbi together with the support from all the leading banks from China. And actually, Hong Kong have been picked as one of the pilot cities within the Greater Bay Area to do some trials. And on a bigger scale, globally now, there's actually over 15 countries already have a regulatory framework for blockchain-based security tokens. So a lot is going on. But what is blockchain? Blockchain is sometimes still very confusing because there's a lot of misconception, right? So I hope I can give you a 1 minute explanation to explain about blockchain. It is very simple, actually. Blockchain is a protocol. In my personal opinion, is overhyped. You know, there's so many people talk about blockchain without the need to actually talk about it or even know about it, right? Let me share with you an example. We watch video every day, right? The protocol of a video is video codec, right? H.264, MPEG-2, MPEG-4. How many of us knows watching the video from the web know about this video protocol? We don't have to know, right? And we use internet every day. The protocol for internet is TCP/IP. And how many of us know TCP/IP and even talk about it? We don't, right? So blockchain is the same. It's the underneath very low-level engineering protocol. But although normal consumer don't have to know about it, but it is in fact very important and powerful tools. Blockchain also referred as a distributed technology ledger. We can simply look at blockchain as be able to enable two paths or two ecosystems. First, let's talk about some unique nature of blockchain. It creates a very reliable mechanism, very transparent for transaction settlement. So it can do that without the need of a lot of third party in the middle. A blockchain provides a very high data security because it's decentralized database and all the data is encrypted in cryptographic algorithm. And because it's record in a chronological order and is on the blockchain, is immutable, is make it very good for traceability, tracing back all the previous transaction records. So with this unique nature of blockchain on one hand, it can enable what we call DApps, decentralized application. This is the field of IT. It means to increase productivities of enterprise, right? Such as cost reduction, improve the processing speed, increase transparency, trust, and higher accuracy. On the other hand, blockchain can be used in the field of decentralized finance. This is the field of finance and capital market, right? So one hand is IT, the other hand is finance. It's completely two different fields. In decentralized finance application, it can provide a higher liquidity for transaction, fractional ownership of assets. It provides alternative settlement platform that might not be fully certified by the traditional banking network. So we can bring financial inclusion, and also with this new features, it enable us or financial institution to create a lot of new products. So keep in mind, one is process improvement, field of IT, increasing productivities. One is about capital market, financial world, right? Investment, digitized securities. And going back here, dig deeper on the business process side. So this is a study by AEE SS. If you see the chart is from 2017 and then into the future, right? You see this curve right here, up and down. This is because on the early days of blockchain, a lot of focus have been put on disrupting financial service industry through cryptocurrency, decentralization of business process, and doing fundraising activities from startup to retail investor. It's not exactly the right approach. So eventually it creates overheating of industry and result on market adjustment. This is what we call the ICO crash. Happened in 2017, and the crash happened in 2018. It feels like, from someone like me who have been to the dot-com, it actually feel very similar with the dot-com, the boom and bust. But then, after the industry is cleaned up until now is growing again very rapidly. Now is the second stage. With more clarity and regulatory guidelines, financial industry now accelerated adoption and integration of blockchain into the business process and business model. And moving forward, as we can see, there will be mass adoption moving forward because the scale and the speed of adoption will continue as executives getting more familiar about blockchain. They're more educated, so they will be thinking about how to integrate blockchain into business process. Again, give you another example. Back in the dot-com days, if during dot-com to year 2000, if someone go around and ask different enterprise, what is your digital strategy? A lot of the company will tell you, hey, our digital strategy is to put the company brochure online, right, into creating a corporate website. But we know that's not the good way of full potential of internet, right? Is the integration into the work process in the supply chain. Same for blockchain, right? We will start seeing real integration of use of blockchain into work process and supply chain happening in the next few years, and that's where really the exponential growth will happen. And apart from the business process, then back to the other side of the ecosystem on the financial asset. World Economic Forum have done a report to estimate the tokenized asset market size to be projected to be over $24 trillion by 2027. Right? As you can see, we are 2020 here is right at the start. So if you think, even contemplate whether you might be late to the game, this is totally just the beginning, right? So none of us are late. This is the right time to get involved at the start. And for research like this, we often understand, like in research like this, very often the short-term projection might be over-project, and a lot of the time the long-term projection is under-project, right? So there may be a chance that even exceed this number. And look at the bigger picture of financial industry. So these are the different areas that we can apply blockchain, right? On the application and solution level, ranging from the exchange, payment, brokerage, trade finance, all the way to capital market, retail banking, and also the middleware service in the middle, and the infrastructure underlying protocol, all can apply blockchain. So some example for deployment of blockchain in the financial institution, as I mentioned earlier, is already here today with much bigger adoption than many people realize. First of all, look at New York in US. One of the major clearinghouse in New York, DTCC, is already using blockchain to do the settlement. It automated over $11 trillion of derivative work process. UBS rolling out their own stable coin as a settlement coin to act as the international settlement among their own network. Barclays, they execute global trade transaction leveraging blockchain, cut down the transaction time from 7 to 10 days to 4 hours. Nasdaq have been implementing blockchain as equity management for the private market platform. Go further on the bank, right? The bank, usually the most conservative, two major banks in US, Wells Fargo and JP Morgan, are now both rolling out the stablecoin, their own branded stablecoin. For the private organization, PTG Factors, they're issuing $1 billion real estate tokenized structure. One of the famous, hotel that tokenized real estate in the early days. St. Regis Resort in Aspen. The first phase really successful. Now they consider second phase also $1 billion of tokenized asset real estate issuance. Alliance Investment in UK, they're tokenizing 500 million of real estate. And Banco Santander from Spain, they're tokenizing over 20 million US dollar of bonds. Go further, Franklin Templeton, mutual fund leader, is tokenizing money market funds. Fidelity from US is tokenizing US Treasury securities. And at last but not least, one of the leading financial instrument rating agents out of Chicago, Morningstar. They are the leader for rating all the corporate bonds and private debt. They just rolled out the first rating product for tokenized securities. And more, you look at in this chart here, it we call like different bond issuing from government, like from Deutsche Bank and some loyalty program. As I mentioned, JP Morgan earlier, this is another coin. This is apart from the stable coin. This is a coin that's backed by gold, right? So many large-scale financial institution is adopting blockchain and launching new products to the market. There are a lot of different use cases, including payment and trade settlements, lending, trade finance, digital identity, data management, and security tokens. Security tokens are one of my favorite topics. That include asset tokenization and digitized securities. And this is also what the awards we mentioned earlier about, right? TADS awards, TADS, is about tokenized asset digitized securities. So I use a few minutes to go down deeper on security tokens. I think that's a huge opportunity in the future. Right. So first, if we look at the overall market in asset allocation and distribution, right? We'll find like the largest portion is still bond and debt, $250 trillion US dollars. And next to that is real estate, 217. And then is equity, 17 trillions. So when we talk about all the public market, stock market, equities, everything add together is 73, right? Actually much smaller than the real estate and bonds market. And then next is cash, ETF, and at the top, digital asset, 247 billion, right? It's not small, 247 billion, but it's still a small, very tiny percentage in terms of the whole market, right? Another interesting point is that since ETF is being invented in Canada in 1990, digital asset is actually the first new asset class in the last 20 years. So we are making a big step when we launched Bitcoin back in 2008 in US. And of course, now, there are a lot more digital assets other than just Bitcoin. But what I want to highlight here, because we talk about asset tokenization, right? So we think moving forward, there will be a big chunk of equity, real estate, and debt will be being tokenized and become digital asset, right? So that's where, going back to earlier slides about the World Economic Forum report estimating $24 trillion, right? So you think about adding $24 trillion to this pie. So it make it literally bigger than ETF and cash. But apart from this, there still be a lot of new products that we never think of today, right? Because once these tools is out there and people learn about it, they will be able to think about new products. So we will see new products also coming in. And some of you might think, such as maybe Bitcoin is only being traded by a small group, is a small transaction. But in reality, actually, there's a lot of transaction volume going on already, right? This chart on the left is showing you the distribution in terms of market capitalization, right? The digital asset is very tiny, right? In the middle is the number of issue, but what's important is in the right. It tells you about annual turnover. Annual turnover of digital asset is 30% of the market now, given such a small market capitalization, right? And a simple perspective, daily turnover of Bitcoin on a global level, transaction volume is 2 times of the Hong Kong stock market transaction volume. You can check it out. For asset tokenization, we can tokenize different type of asset. It could be ownership of a fixed asset, equity. It could be cash flow, just revenue sharing, profit sharing, dividend, or tokenizing debt like bonds, debentures, or investment funds like REITs and collective investment scheme and so on. I might be running out of time, so I will be quick. Okay, these are just some of the unique features of digital assets. You can find them online, to be honest, like it's very popular. But I want to get into something really interesting. These are, again, some of the quote from some of the famous people and industry leader in the financial sector. On the regulatory landscape, different countries in different pace. But in general, we see all these different countries, they are moving ahead in a very positive scale, a positive way in parallel. And if we look at the global distribution of STO or issuing, number of STO being issued from different jurisdictions, you see here, US is the number 1, right? Way ahead among others, right? Switzerland is second, United Kingdom is third. But the interesting perspective here is, if you still remember ICO, right? In the US SEC, they're still going after ICO, right? They're very against. They're still going after and suing many ICO issuer. But for STO, they're actually leading the game, right? It's fully compliant, as you can see. They have a lot of regulation as well supporting this. Okay, so there's also a lot of risk and challenge of the market. It's not just all positive, but I think this is just a natural development. Okay, thank you very much. That's all for me. So do we have time for Q&A? All right, okay, thank you very much. So this is my WeChat and LinkedIn. Feel free to look me up if you have any question. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Have a good day.